Hey, I'm Simone.
And I'm Jess. We're two long-distance best friends who are states away.
But our bond has never been closer. From spirituality to spirited conversations,
we're here to share them with you.
So welcome to Fly Talks.
Come fly with us for a bit. Hello, guys. Welcome to...
Why you start so fast?
No, because I was going to say episode 8. I'm like, damn, we really in this bitch. Sorry. Okay.
We really are.
My bad, y'all. Welcome to Fly Talks.
Hello, welcome to... And damn.
Welcome to Fly Talks, y'all. God
Hey,
damn.
y'all. Welcome.
Hey. So...
We're on episode 8.
We're on episode 8. And last week, I feel like we're getting deeper and deeper. I feel like we are, like, not that we weren't, transparent in the beginning, but I think they are topics that are easy to relate to or kind of like more easy to speak to. I think now we're kind of going into our personal journeys. And I know last episode, we spoke about my journey with love and my breakup. But this episode, we're going to be talking to you. Everybody.
Yeah. My mic.
All right, guys. Yeah. So as we always know, these are experiences I think that everybody can relate to. But this one in particular, let me start. Okay. So Simone and I obviously talk about relationships, as friends, yada, yada. The thing that has been a constant in your language and you expressing, where you're at with dating is being afraid to kind of put your heart back on the line, to kind of open yourself back up in that way.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's a human as fuck experience. But it's also like, where do you start to not only unlearn that, but also trust yourself enough to know that you can handle anything that comes next? So,
yeah,
I guess my question for you would be, what are you most afraid of? And
oh my God,
I'm sorry.
Damn.
Okay, I won't do it. And okay,
no. If you need to, but
no.
bitch.
Okay, relation. Okay, no, for real. What are you most afraid of that's gonna happen if you step that toe back into the dating pool, right? Because girl, Simone got her wedding colors picked out. Where are we gonna find this man if you don't
I don't take the fucking leap?
All right, let's go.
What am I most afraid of? I think it's just I am so sensitive. And when it comes to matters of the heart, I feel that sensitivity has not always been respected, cared for, or like regarded. And so when it comes to putting myself back out there, the fear is that like no one will care for me as well as like I can care for me. And then I'm learning to care for myself, because there have been moments where I wasn't always the most like careful with my own feelings. But it's like now that I am growing in my sense of self, there is this level of like overprotectiveness that has been like elevated even more than it was before. And so it makes me nervous, because part of romantic love is vulnerability. And to be vulnerable with a man makes me want to throw up.
You are not the only one. Do you know how many times I hear, like, of course they say what dating pool is like a cesspool, or
has piss and shit in it.
Piss and shit. But I think it's sad because we gotta still wade through that bitch to get what we need or want. But I guess my question for you I think all of our fears come from a certain place, right? So all of the things that we are afraid of that are triggering our emotions, kind of like, is there a specific experience that's taking you back to like, oh, never again?
Yes, more recently, I was I was dealing with someone who it felt very like electric when we first got to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention physically it was very compatible.
Oh,
Um, do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know. I'm gonna keep listening. I'm trying to put
Okay.
my okay.
Um, this was at the end of like last year.
Okay.
And it was like he kind of like came into my life very much like I'm ready.
Mm,
And I was like, okay. And like hindsight 2020, I like when you're I am not a stranger to like moving very quickly when it feels electric.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I have thrown my caution to the wind in a lot of
Yeah.
sense when I feel that kind of like physical chemistry, like that, like literal electricity.
Mm-hmm.
And so the way it was like presented, I felt like, okay, this is someone who we're like, we have a physical compatibility. He wants the same things that I want, like, you know? And so I like went with it.
Mm,
Turns out, and I think you'd mentioned it in the last episode. You were like, it turned into a situationship
yep.
in a sense. And I was like constantly like trying to get back to that, but then it just kind of ended up like petering off into just like a physical thing. And I
Mm,
mean, honestly, it ended very abruptly because he crossed a boundary with me.
mm-hmm.
And I was like adamant about that. And to be honest, I have him to thank for putting me on the path of like realizing I'm that bitch
Mm-hmm. Period.
because I gave so much of myself to him.
Mm,
And I realized like this is not how I should be made to feel. If someone is 150% about me,
mm-hmm.
I shouldn't feel this way. And so instead of me trying to give that back, I really did switch that to giving myself that level of care and like attention and just like hyping myself up. But like and in that I've been in this kind of like selfish era of just like
Mm-hmm.
focusing on me, doing me, elevating my own career, my life, like I just my spirituality, like I really want to grow so that I am the person that I know I'm meant to be. But
Mm-hmm.
in that, it seems like I have kind of like separated the idea that like romantic love can be a part of that
Mm-hmm.
to the point where I don't know if I said this to you, but I was like, do I even need like can I even be in a relationship? Like, is this really
Yeah.
what I want for real? And so, but recently I have recognized that it's uh I'm an out of sight, out of mind person. And the reason why I kind of put that in the back of my mind is like that makes me anxious and fearful
Mm-hmm.
to put myself back out there like that. It
Mm-hmm.
makes me nervous because I'm like, damn, I know I can get so wrapped up in a person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that making sense?
It makes a lot of sense. I think specifically because you had mentioned like working on yourself, trying to elevate, trying to, make sure career wise that you're on track. I think there's this big fear that's not only yours, it's like of I think mostly women, but people that like you said it's gonna suffocate. It's gonna take all of your time. You're not gonna be able to like acknowledge anything else. Like you can't multitask because love is this ever like all consuming thing. Um I guess for you, my question would be what makes you think that after what you've learned, you would be able to lose yourself to that extent again? Do you trust yourself to know that
Mhm.
you can see it before it happens?
That is a very good point. I think there is more trust that I should be cultivating with myself to know that
Mm,
just as I was able to make it through that last time, like, I could do that again a million times over, and it doesn't make it less painful, doesn't
Mhm.
make it, like, less difficult to feel the sadness of that type of, like, situation, but I have the ability to conquer it regardless.
Mhm.
Um, being jaded is really interesting because it puts you in a level of, like, being comfortable with solitude, and it kind of, like,
Mm.
disconnects you from everybody and everything,
Mhm.
um, even in, like, friendships a lot of
Mhm.
times too, like, you become so self-reliant because it's like, "Hey, nobody got me like me,"
Yeah.
and if I do give some of my energy to someone else, I can lose myself, and I don't wanna do that because 'cause I'm me, and I don't wanna
Mm.
and I've really been working recently on, like, opening my heart,
Mhm.
and I'm very protective of my heart. I have, like, a small group of friends that I trust with my full self,
Yeah.
and people probably be surprised who is and isn't on that list. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I'm a connection person, and to be honest, I'm great at connecting with people, but I don't always give people a chance to connect with me.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So, it's
I'd
like
agree.
yeah, I don't know, man. It's a rough process of, like, being honest with myself about
Mm.
this part of my life, and then I told my mom too, because like, recently there have been some people who I'm interested in after my
Okay.
trip to Miami, and I was like, "Ugh, I just hate liking people because it's just so much, like, the vulnerability and, like, having to sit in those feelings and, like, like, uncertainty of getting to know people, like, there's so much of a
Mm.
question mark." And my mom and I were both kinda like, "That's a part of you that's really immature. That's a part
Mm.
of you that really needs to, like, grow up and really, like."
Mm.
And it is, like, I feel like the way I approach love is very much like a teenage girl sometimes, like, "Oh my god, I like him, I hate it." You know what I mean? And it's like, as an adult woman, like, there's beauty in that feeling, and when you trust yourself, like you mentioned, and when you know what your worth is, and you know that you're approaching this from a place of confidence and security, there's nothing to be afraid of. If anything, I mean, it's scary, but
Yeah.
it's like you have to know that you can catch yourself if you do fall.
Ooh, I think it's a beautiful lesson. But I think what you feel in the midst of it is so human because, like, they say the body keeps the score. So
Yeah,
it's like you got hit by a truck, you made it through, you got your surgeries, you still walking. You may not look at trucks the same way.
right.
And it's like, does that mean everyone's going to hit you? No. But does it also mean that you should be cautious? Yes. So I think there's a logical reason. And I think that love isn't logical all the time. And I think that's what makes it terrifying for
Yeah,
all of us is
yeah,
like you can't plan how somebody feels about you day to day. That used to be my biggest fear. I'm like, somebody could literally wake up and be like, bro, I don't fuck with you. Like, you could be married, it could be 40 years from now. They'd be like,
yeah.
damn, you a little ugly, and I'm good.
Oh my
Like,
god.
I'm good here.
Yeah.
And I think what you're saying is so true because that sense of self is also how we always land where we land. It's also God. Like,
Yeah,
nobody's God. You can't tell me who I am. Your rejection or lack of ability to be here isn't reflective of my existence. Like,
yeah.
how do you feel? I guess my question would be, okay, so you said you went to Miami, right?
Mhm.
You saw somebody that you may or may not have liked, right? So,
Yeah.
okay. So, instead of opening that with open arms, right? It kind of turned into something like you said, it's just like I'm a little scared and I want to correct. I don't want to say that it's not immature. I get what you were saying,
Yes.
but I also have seen you hurt. Like I've realistically have seen you hurt and I think
Yeah.
that you have the ability to laugh off pain. Like you can make something really lighthearted and be like, ha ha ha, I'm scared. And it's like, no, you're really scared. Like that's
Mhm.
not immaturity, that's experience.
Yeah.
So it's like I think because of how lighthearted possibly that it can come off is maybe where that, oh, like, it's a little childish. Just like, no, this hurts.
Well,
Does that make sense?
it's less of that. It's less of like me being lighthearted. It's more so like literally underdeveloped
Mm,
ways of dealing with liking someone.
okay.
So it's like I when I see someone I I like every instead of thinking like, oh, this is someone I can get to know and like potentially grow with. I'm like, okay, well, when am I gonna hear from him? How are we gonna talk? What are we gonna do? Like, when's the
Mm,
time I'm gonna see him? I don't know. So I get in this like,
mm,
I start to like just
ruminate.
anxiety hits. Exactly,
Mhm,
ruminate. Like, and I was telling my mom too, I'm like, I have like three main triggers for anxiety for me.
mhm,
One is money, two is hunger, and three is men.
mm,
And to be honest, like the core of it is really just a level of distrust when it comes to how men deal with my emotions
yeah.
because then I haven't had the best experience with with the men that have dealt with my emotions.
Have you learned to validate them yourself so that when they're not appreciated or agreed with, it's not something that knocks you, I don't want to say off of your feet because it's
Yeah.
gonna hurt regardless. But I think like being your best friend and seeing like we were the essay writers, you were the, right, like you felt. And I
Yeah.
think like any girl who, you write 10 pages and a nigga be like, bet. It's like it will make you not want to be honest or say something hurt me, nothing like from this point forward. So I guess like I think hearing it makes even more sense because the person that you're going to align with, that's going to be somebody who's emotionally mature as well. Because
Right.
somebody who can't communicate or understand somebody else's feelings, that's immaturity. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, if
Yeah.
I'm expressing how I feel, you're very eloquent, you know how to vocalize yourself. If you don't know how to reciprocate that or receive that, then maybe you got to grow a little
Right.
bit.
Right. I think that's a good point, and I am actively learning how to validate my emotions, and I
Mhm.
think that's why I lean less into the rumination and more into the reality of the situation,
Yeah.
like, checking in with myself and being like, "Okay, how do you feel in this moment?" Like, I'd watched this video recently on TikTok of this guy who was like, people in, like, their dark feminine often, like, attract people I have to find it, and I'll, like, link it somewhere, but there's a level of, like, when we really like someone, like, there's a moment
Mhm.
where we feel like we like them too much, and then we start to get nervous about, like, impressing them or chasing after them and making sure the energy stays up,
Yeah.
when in the other way around, it's like, I'm so secure in myself and my emotions, I know how I feel. That person is meant to impress me, right? That person is meant to honor me and my emotions, and if it doesn't happen, I can pick right back up where I left off.
Mm.
And I have had a habit of, like, catastrophizing the end of a romantic scenario.
Mm.
And it's like,
Mhm.
"Oh my god, I don't want this to happen. This is the worst thing that could ever happen. I can't believe it." And then I, like,
Right.
stay in those emotions.
Mhm.
And because that I have that I feel so deeply and I it hits me, it's like, I don't want that to happen again.
Mm.
And instead, it's like reframing it of like, I don't have to approach every romantic situation that same way.
Mm.
It's a day by day process. I don't have to invest so much of myself and my emotions into that person. It's
Mhm.
a day by day process. The more you grow and the more someone shows you themselves, the more you can invest.
Mm.
And if it shifts at any moment, just as you didn't know them before and you were able to move through life, you can get right back to that.
It reminds me of our last episode when we were
Yeah.
talking about, like, you're not married. Like, we have to learn how to date.
Girl, when you said that, I was like,
Yeah.
"Thanks."
Yeah.
And that's what
You
I
gotta
was
learn
saying.
how
Oh
to
my
date.
gosh. You said that. Like,
Yep.
one of the guys I'm like talking to, I was like, I feel like he should be 150% obsessed with me and he should be texting me every single day, every
Right.
hour of the day, asking me how I'm doing. And if he doesn't do that, then fuck him and I don't want to talk to him ever again.
Mhm.
And Jessica was like, oh, so we've forgotten how to date. And I said, and I don't know how to date. I think that's absolutely correct because a lot
Yeah.
of the relationship situationships I've been in have moved quickly.
Mm.
Or they were focused on one element of the relationship and never really grew to the other
Mm.
ones.
I'm thinking, I guess my mind is kind of twirling because I'm like, okay, it's kind of like, okay, so we did the grief episode. I always talk about my best friend Tyler. So he has
Mhm.
said to me one day that my vetting process of men and women were worse than guns in the United States. This
Right.
is what he says out of his mouth to me. And I guess I'm saying that to say that similar to what you've said before, we don't have to like everybody, right? So it's like you said, they have to prove themselves to you.
Yeah.
Where in what world would a week be enough? You show me, and they say like people show their best selves. I think it's like even to 6 months. It's like I do
Mhm.
this, I do that. You don't start to learn especially as somebody who just left a relationship, you don't start to learn these people until like you're in it. So
Yeah.
it's like men date, we fantasize.
Yep.
And it's just like kind of like you said, it's just like just remembering, okay, I'm also watching you. I'm watching how you move. I'm watching how you treat people in your life. I'm watching how you treat me while we're dating. I'm not going to naturally assume that this is all you from the jump and this is
Yeah.
also going to be consistent. Like, if you think of any type of like scientific things or anything that's data relevant, there's trials.
Yeah.
Like, there's trials until you
True.
come up with the answer because one like luck is one time is happenstance. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's
Yeah.
like, gotta pull them niggas through the ringer.
It's true. And the way I've approached relationships in the past has been like, honestly, like being um, is the word amiable?
Hmm.
Being as amiable as possible and being like, okay, being likable and being like, not causing too much, like ruffling too much feathers and like being as just appeasing
Hmm.
that person as much as possible. But in that, you don't get to see them like
For
solve
themselves.
problems. You don't get to see them like rise to the occasion because you don't give them any occasions to rise to. And so,
Mm.
like, in this stage of my life where I am working on opening up my heart, it's like, okay, you ain't gotta like set it up for him to score. See if the
Hmm.
nigga gonna shoot, if he gonna find the ball.
Ooh.
See if he's gonna find the ball and dribble it down the court to shoot the basket. I don't need to be like, oh, by the way, the ball's right here. Like,
Simone. And then we'd be like, wow, they're amazing. If they fumbled that, then they're just not here.
they're just not here.
But if yeah, it's set up for you to win. What are you gonna do without
Right.
my help?
Without my help. And like,
Ooh.
and that's my thing. It's like when you like someone so much, you want them to win, right? So you're going to give them little shortcuts and be like, oh, well, this is how
Mm.
you should do it. And I had to talk myself off the ledge earlier today because I was going to text a nigga and be like, so what are we doing? Because that's my favorite thing. I love texting a nigga. So what
No,
is that? Like, what are we doing? That's my favorite thing.
no,
I'm
no,
like,
no,
hurry
no.
up, bro. Like, but then that's obviously unrealistic because it takes time. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
people work. Like I just
Yep.
got back from a vacation. It's going to take time for me to get back into the groove of life.
True.
And so
Yeah.
like you have to give it time and just like what you said, people be showing the best version of themselves for up to 6 months. But the thing is, my
Oof.
habit once again has been like, oh, it's not working. I'm not as excited or as
Mhm.
entertained or I don't feel like it's going the way that it should go in my head. Therefore,
Mhm.
after 3 months, it's done.
What I'm about to say, we gotta juggle these niggas.
No,
This
we
is
really do.
it's like you really focus so hard on one person because it's one person. When it's one person, that one person deserves your divided attention once they ask you to date exclusively.
Yep.
And I think we're just so like, just as women, we're not used to, and I'm even speaking about myself. I don't think I've ever dated multiple people. Um, mm, no. Mm, but but I think intentionally. And it's like, and not even just talking to multiple people, dating, like being courted by multiple people without
Yeah.
that feeling of guilt. Like, you
Mhm.
took me, here on Monday, he took me here on Wednesday. I don't owe you anything. And I think that that's
Mhm.
hard for us. So it makes you put everything on one person, which is unfair, to be honest. It, he didn't
Is
sign up for that.
he didn't sign up for that. That's not once again, you're not married.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're putting a lot of, like, responsibility on someone who hasn't even made a commitment to you. And then on top of that, I have a good friend. Shout out to James Lissier. That's my
Hey,
homie.
James.
But he would like I'm grateful for the male friendships I have in my life because like niggas really do give you a completely different perspective on shit. And it really help like it really is beneficial. As
Yes.
much even if you're a
Yes.
misandrist, however you pronounce it, you have to have friends that are men. Like it is so vital, I think, to like your personal life.
Yeah.
But he was saying like it is a lot of work to be like a woman's sole source of happiness. Like if I don't text
Mm.
her back and she's pissed at me the next day, it's like, bro, like why am I doing this? Like
Ooh.
there has to be multiple avenues where she finds her happiness and her peace and she's secure in herself. Because if I am the only person who can give her that happiness, how those are shoes to fill that I don't even feel for myself,
Yep.
you
Yep.
know? So that's like
Ooh.
another thing I've been learning.
Mm. That resonates so much.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like you said, it's like something that you learn. I think like when I was younger, same with you. I think same with all of us. It still
Mhm,
applies now, but
mhm.
when I was younger, it would literally be like, okay, he wakes up. I had a boyfriend at the time. Even thinking about men is just I had a BOY friend at the
Yep.
time.
Mhm.
Bro, he was shit. I'd stand by the door to the bathroom. He would want to go to the grocery store. I'd be like, I'm riding. Like, it was one of those things where men will be like, I'm playing basketball. I'm going out with my friends. And there was a time I think when I would be like envious of that. And it's like, that's called balance in adulthood. Now that I'm
Yeah,
30, I'm like, girl, you was literally like, could have been paid to be up his anus.
I'm
Like,
saying.
this is crazy.
Yeah, because we care so much. We put so much of ourselves into the people that we're dating.
Mm-hmm.
We put
Mm-hmm.
so much of ourselves. And one of the things I have learned, as soon as you start liking somebody, do more, have a life. Like literally
Yep.
dive so much into your own life that
Yes.
you damn near don't have time to talk to that nigga. I mean, find a new hobby,
Yes.
start taking classes, tell your friends like what we doing, where we going tonight. Like literally invest more into your
To
life
yourself.
because exactly into yourself, into your life. Because the thing is, I feel like relationships, yes, they're a necessity, but a good relationship is a luxury that you enjoy outside of your personal life. So
Mm.
when your personal life is fulfilled and you find happiness outside of it, you can really view it and treat it as the beautiful creation, the beautiful luxury that it is, you
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah.
instead of treating it like like, oh, I need
Mhm.
this relationship, like, I need this man, I need this woman, I need this person. Like,
Mm.
I think when you are sure in your own self,
Mm.
it becomes less of a need and more of a want. And that is something that I have been like really reframing in my mind when it comes to relationships. I don't want to need a man. I want to want a man.
Yeah. And that depth and that need and all of those like things that are more, I don't know how I'm trying to say. I guess the need part,
Yeah.
that's marriage. You know what I'm saying? That
Right.
that's the stuff where it's like two are one, bitch. You better
Right.
figure it out. But
Mhm.
right now, like you said, like you're in a place where the world is like they say, your oyster. You can have it your way, any type of way, flip it, Burger King, whatever. And
Yeah.
it's up to you to choose that. So like you said, it's like not having that expectation of one person to be that sole place is limiting one to you. And I think that's why people kind of separate dating and moving forward, especially as women, because we're like, I'm trying to grow at work. Maybe I shouldn't date. It's like, or you can learn the muscle of multitasking and not
Yep.
letting anybody knock you off your square, you know?
Facts. Facts.
Yeah.
That's very true. And I do want to, because you'd mentioned like marriage is
Hmm.
the need aspect.
Yeah,
I don't even think that's true.
true. Yeah, it
I
makes more
think you
sense.
it makes more sense in
It
the
makes
sense
more sense.
that y'all are legally bound to each other,
Yes.
and so there
Yes.
are I won't even say need, there are obligations that
Yes.
come with marriage.
Hmm.
But even then, if I don't want
I
to
won't be
be in a
there.
marriage, I don't wanna be in that motherfucker, and I will quite literally leave.
You fight
But
harder.
you fight harder because, of course, you're building that, of course, so that
Yeah.
makes sense, I understand that, I'm glad that I, like, clarified on that. But, yeah, like, you can multitask, but I think you have to be ready to multitask and you have to be willing to work to exercise the muscle.
Hmm.
So, like, I think part of my lesson with the people that I'm like wanting to date is like, this is the unfamiliar muscle that I'm practicing working on for me. Like, it's very unfamiliar because my first instinct is like, okay, if the dick is good and we had a good conversation, then clearly this is my nigga. So, what's going on here?
What
What's
we
what
doing?
are we
What
doing? Like, what's
we
happening here?
doing?
Because respectfully, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was there are a lot of things going there.
Yeah,
However, I have a lot of shit going for me too.
and that's that.
I have a lot of shit going
You
on
be
in my life.
birthing babies.
I
Do you
literally
understand that?
I help birth children. I'm
Mm,
making a full on
person.
podcast with my best friend. I have a
Ooh,
whole brand that I am building.
come on.
We got shit
To
that we
do.
working on. I got hella friends who love me. I got more carnivals to go to. You feel
Yeah,
me?
girl. Yeah, you do. Throw it.
So it's like, yes, that is something that I desire at the heart of my heart, in my heart of hearts. It
Mhm,
is something that I desire. However, I have many desires.
mhm,
And like you said, to balance them all, I think is the beauty of life and of humanity. And as I grow in myself and realizing my power and realizing what I'm capable of doing, the more willing I am to multitask in a functional way,
mm.
including dating.
I love it. It's not all or nothing.
It's not.
It's one of the things on your plate, and if just like a job, you don't like it, quit it. And it's even better than a job. It's a volunteer job.
It's quite literally a volunteer job. Like, I don't have to be here. I'm not even getting paid for real.
So if it's not meshing and it's really messing up things I got going on, you don't got to be right. I don't got to be wrong. It's not working. And I think that's that once again that trust muscle of like I can bounce back, bro. Like
Right.
I'm strong enough to as much as you didn't want to before you did. And nobody wants to be set up, to fail, but I think also the sad reality and the also beautiful reality is we won't
Mhm.
know until we try. Like it's either gonna be your husband or he's gonna be a nobody. Like a week from
Yeah.
now. It's just the truth. You gotta try.
I gotta
I
try,
know.
and that's not fun for me. I don't like it, and that's the thing too. I can say I think a level of one of the reasons why I'm not the best at trying, and honestly, this kind of goes through a lot of aspects of my life. Like, I've talked to Jess about this. When it comes to applying myself,
Mhm.
I am not a stranger to disappointment.
Ooh.
And disappointment has been, like, gut-wrenching for me. Like, me and disappointment, we be, like
Yeah.
I be ready like, me and disappointment be
Yeah.
having it out. We fight a lot.
I
And
know.
so it's like, "Bro, I don't wanna have to fight with your ass, bro. You tire me out." Like, disappointment,
Yeah.
you make me tired, and I be having to go to
Yeah.
sleep for 6 days. Like, I don't wanna have to deal with this. But also, I can't avoid that. I
Mm-mm.
can't avoid it.
You deserve love.
I deserve love.
Mhm.
And I don't often tell myself that, because in my mind, I don't think it's something that I struggle with believing, because I'm like, "Yeah, I'm that bitch, of course." But also, like, my that bitchness is very specific to, like, my talents
Mhm.
and my abilities and, like, my star power and the fire that
Mhm.
I have, and it's very rarely related to being lovable.
Mm.
And
Ooh.
so it's a struggle for me to realize that, like, because I've had so many disappointments, it's like, clearly, if I keep getting disappointed in this arena, it's because maybe there's something about me that isn't lovable.
You are so lovable. You
Thank
are
you.
so lovable. This is crazy because it really just boils down to I remember telling Shannon this, like, it fails until it doesn't. Like, that's literally like, think of your parents and their marriage, like,
Yeah.
everything was an L before your dad, like, it's going to feel like that. It's gonna keep feeling like deny, 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 then bingo.
Yeah.
So it's like that feeling of exhaustion is so human, and it's the reality of what really is. Like, it really is because it's not going to work if it's not it. So we also kind of have to be used to not personalizing why something doesn't work out.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think when you learn yourself, you can kind of like in the last episode, it's like you don't have to villainize somebody for it to be like whatever. And you don't have to villainize yourself. It doesn't have to be, he doesn't like me. Maybe I said this, maybe I said that. Girl, maybe his dog died. I don't give a fuck. It it don't work. Next.
It ain't working, move on, you feel me?
That's
Like,
it.
be sad for 3 days and then get over it. Honor
Yep.
your emotions and then move on, and I think
Yep.
that's where I've, like, been. I actually wrote in my journal about this. I was like, "Listen, I'm it makes me really sad that, like, certain things don't happen the way I expect them to,
Yeah.
but if it's meant to be, it'll work,
Yeah.
and if it doesn't, I'll be okay."
And mm, that's it. That's it. And it's so we don't want to sit there. I don't want to sit there. I'm tired
It's
of that shit.
hard. It's hard to sit there because it's like, "Damn, how many times am I
Again.
gonna be okay?" Like, fuck, man.
Until you know that you're strong. Until it's like once again, like not happenstance, until you really, really learn that you are strong enough to go through everything you've lived through, everything, not even just romantically, everything you've
Mhm.
ever
Ooh,
lived through. Yeah, like until you acknowledge your strength and like what they say, your superpower, you'll just keep being thrown that lesson until it sticks.
facts. I just saw on our recording it said 37:37 right when I looked, so that means I must go look at my book. So
Oh
I'm
my
gonna stop my
God.
camera. All right, so it said 37:37
Okay.
on the recording right when I looked at it. Mm.
Uh-oh.
It says independent. Try it yourself. There's something in your life that you could do on your own. You're being given confidence from your angels. Use it. Think of where you may have become unnecessarily dependent on others for help and try it out on your own.
Hmm.
Interesting. I'm going to take the independent part and like help from others. And I'm going to say being dependent on others for emotional fulfillment
Mhm.
to the point where you lost yourself.
Mhm.
Find ways to emotionally fulfill yourself
Mhm.
because I think when you have that level of stability within yourself emotionally, there's nothing that can really knock you off of that.
Mhm.
And that
Mhm.
could also relate to love too. Like when you're so secure with how you honor your own emotions and your own emotional stability, heartbreak will hurt for a bit, but it will never knock you off your game.
Mm. Yeah. Get back up.
Get back up. Like you literally got it. Like you literally can handle it. Like one of the first things you said was like, do you trust yourself enough
Yeah.
to know that if something goes wrong, you can get the fuck out of there?
I just like I really just want to let people know that it's okay. Like, I feel like that's always our goal here,
Yeah.
but like specifically matters of the heart
Mhm.
make you feel things in a way that like nothing else can. I don't know what it is, but you're worthy of being loved. That's it, you know?
Yeah.
And you are.
I wonder like I wonder what it will take for me to like really believe that.
A real ass nigga.
Period.
Sorry. God, my
Nah,
lamp.
that's the fact. What are you talking about? God be cussing to me. I don't know about y'all.
He
My
don't curse to me.
oh, y'all
He
got some
don't
good.
curse to
Oh,
me.
oh,
Mm-mm.
my bad.
He
My,
doesn't mind my cursing, but he don't curse to me. That's
oh,
crazy.
okay. I mean, he don't
Yeah.
be like, "Hey, bitch," like he don't talk to me like that or anything. But man, we be getting down. But anyway,
Um,
yeah, I do think it'll take that, and I also think it is like I'm on a journey right now, and I'm meant to be on this journey. I'm meant to
mm,
be learning these things that I'm learning. I am meant to be like pulling hella niggas at Miami Carnival to like help, like really help me recognize, like, yeah, girl,
mm.
you got it. Like,
You
there's
got
like,
it.
you literally got it. You
Yep.
literally got it. And like, I'll say this, I'm not gonna give this man too much credit, okay?
Mm.
But one of the people I'm talking to,
Period.
we were just like chatting, and he was like, I don't understand why you're not cocky.
Mm,
He's like, I just don't understand. Cause he's like, there's really nobody out there like you for real. Like, you really got, like, you're very unique.
mm.
You really need to stand on it. And I was like,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah. That's what somebody who, and not saying, like you said, end all be all, that's what you're supposed to hear.
Yeah.
That's it right there. And believe for yourself. And there should be a point in your life where you're like you said, like, yeah, matter of fact, yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
You know what? You made a good point. Thank you. You're
And I feel
correct.
like when you're younger, it would be like, oh
Yeah.
my God, that's so
See,
romantic.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's true. It is like
Yeah.
that's the bare minimum of how someone who like is interested in you or whatever should speak to or about you. And that's
Yeah.
also how you should speak to and about yourself. Like,
Yeah. Do you, because currently right now, I mean, like you said, I think you said I was ready. I think I'm still kind of like in that weird zone, but I know particularly you are single and ready to mingle. So is there any, well, maybe not ready to mingle.
yeah, I don't know about the rating part, but I am single. That's for sure.
Two of us, and
We
that
got two
makes two.
periods, two single girlies.
Hit the no. I'm not gonna say hit the DMs. Don't do that.
Oh,
Um,
I
well, you
mean,
could hit Simone's.
I
Hit
mean,
Simone.
y'all already hit mine. So I mean, what's a few more?
Run it,
What's
run
a few
it.
more?
Ah, that eats. Okay. Last parting words of wisdom.
No, you were gonna say something.
That's what I was gonna say. What are
Oh,
your
you're gonna
last
say send me
parting
ready to
words of
mingle.
wisdom?
Oh,
Uh-uh.
I mean, I wouldn't say I don't think I'm ready for a full blown relationship, but I
Yeah.
do think I could date more
Okay.
to get that to whet that whistle, like to wet the palate actually.
What?
Whet the palate of dating because I don't know, like I can admit I don't know how to date for real. I really don't.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not it's not something I'm super familiar with. So I think like going forward, I'm saying this to myself and to those listening, like give yourself those experiences of dating. Ensure that these people are in some way like at your caliber of what you desire. Don't just go out with anybody. You feel me?
Mhm.
Because I've learned
Mhm.
that lesson as well. Don't just date anybody just because they like you.
Mm-mm.
Don't do that. But if you feel some level of interest and there's some commonalities and similarities, explore it. See what comes with that. It ain't got to be your man. This ain't got to be, but like give it time to potentially grow and see where it goes. Keep
Mm.
your standards high.
Mhm.
Expect the best because you deserve the best. Also
Yeah.
saying this to myself, giving it time to grow,
Mm.
not feeling like if it isn't like a fairy tale romance right off rip that it's like not working,
Mhm. Mhm.
and like I think part of the issue, not to get back into the conversation, but just want to say this little thing. Part of the issue is that in our society, like romance has been so like the fairy tale romance is almost like has almost, what's the word I'm looking for? Inhibited our
Yeah.
ability to like show and grow full
Mhm.
love to someone because it's an
Mhm.
idea that it's going to be perfect and it's going to be the fairy tale dates. And I think really the fairy tale kind of comes in when y'all know each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the beautiful aspect. It's like when you know someone and you are yourself with them, there's so much joy that can be found, so much beauty that can be found at the center of your relationship. But you can't get that until you give it time to grow. Water the plant, put it in the sunlight.
Water the plant and put it in the sunlight. Don't say we didn't give y'all
Don't
nothing.
say we didn't give y'all nothing.
Amazing conversation, Simone. Thank you for your vulnerability. I love you.
I love you too. Thank you for always asking the right questions and ensuring that, the right things are said. I'm beyond grateful.
Amen and amen. With that, we say, fly talk,
Fly talks,
fly
fly
away.
away. Thanks for listening. Nah, I eat to eat. Oh my God.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, guys. Kisses. Mwah.